Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, he's our guy from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department, Darren Doogie Wolfson.
I love
He's
sports,
here.
Dad.
We know that one person didn't love him yesterday at the press conference.
I appreciate that. Somebody has to. You and Dawn, perhaps. And maybe the dogs, although they're upset with me right now.
Does Dawn snip at you in the way that the Vikings head coach snips at you?
If this is Kevin O'Connell and Dawn is Belichick.
We're on to
Iowa. Kevin O'Connell. Let me make this very clear, and we can play the clip. He was a pussycat compared to the reality of how this can work with coaches and or upset spouses. Very similar sometimes.
We will play the clip. We'll get into it. We'll get Doogie's thoughts on just the injury situations here. But first, Doogs, you're down a bunch of weight the last few weeks thanks to Awaken 180. Let's start there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Phil. Maybe KOC is bogged down because he didn't have the right breakfast or dinner the other night. Who knows, right? Eat well, feel well, right? So, thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The website is awaken180weightloss.com. Middle of my 6th week, down 18 pounds, slow and steady, gradual progress. That's what I was seeking. It's here. Eat to lose weight. Calorie counting, not a thing. Exercise, not necessary. Taking some sort of medication, not necessary. They lay everything out for you. The why, the how, the what to eat, the when to eat. They answer all your questions. They hold us accountable. I love it. For somebody on the move a lot, it's a very easy plan to follow. It absolutely works. I'll tell you what, you know what's good for the soul? A great concert. I'm not a huge Mumford & Sons fan, but last Thursday night, Grand Casino Arena, Mrs. W drags me. Had a blast. Turned out it was a fantastic concert. Marcus Mumford, you are the man. You know how to put on a good live show. But, hey, concert inevitable. We don't walk back through the door at home until 12:30 a.m. Up early last Friday morning to get the kids to school. Felt pretty darn energized. That's the beauty of Awaken 180 weight loss. I feel really good, able to sustain energy. It's a simple plan. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can too. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, the website to schedule your free consultation, awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com.
Sorry, the hot take police coming in here.
Don't worry. The dog's right now. Barking too right now. The people who I thought were gone outside my house, the construction people, they're back digging up more road. It's a never-ending cycle.
Just like
the
Vikings,
give it about 5 minutes. Scooby's somewhere. I don't know where he is, but give it about 5 minutes. You might hear a little Scoopster in the background.
Yeah, just like the Vikings quarterback situation is a never-ending situation. So, we have the injury report. We've heard from the parties involved, and we'll play some of the clips here too. But Dukes, McCarthy said, I think the highlights are McCarthy said his ankle isn't 100%. He talked about consulting second opinions that had the timeline being up to 6 weeks. We're still in that window. McCarthy was limited at practice yesterday while Wentz was a full participant nursing a non-shoulder situation. So it feels like all signs are pointing to Carson Wentz starting this weekend. Is that fair to say, you guys?
That is absolutely fair to say. I will be surprised. I mean, going back to last week, I thought it would be Wentz. Tuesday, I thought it would be Wentz. Now more than ever here on Reckless Speculation Thursday. To me, it's not recklessly speculating that Carson Wentz signs point to him starting on Sunday. So let the quarterback questions continue for a couple more weeks. Can't imagine that McCarthy is playing 1 week from tonight in Los Angeles. So to me, then we're circling November 2nd, the game in Detroit against the Lions. Is McCarthy back then? Now, hey, he was in good spirits. I was in the locker room yesterday. Yeah, he certainly held court at the podium. But then after that, he was conversing with a lot of teammates, a lot of media members coming up saying hi to everyone. He was his normal, happy self. So he seemed to be in a good place. But yeah, I mean, I thought he might be a full go at some point this week. Now, who knows? Maybe something changes today, but it certainly seems like he'll be limited. I thought there was a chance he would get on the grass last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, before the bye in London that Thursday or Friday, even though the Friday practice is a light practice. Still thought there was a chance. That did not happen. So, yeah, I mean, certainly, Judd, Carson Wentz on Sunday makes all sorts of sense.
Yeah, which means if Carson Wentz on Sunday, and I agree with you, makes sense, then it makes sense that Carson Wentz is going to play the Thursday game against the Chargers because you're not going to turn around to bring JJ back for that game. So the earliest that McCarthy could come back, but I was talking with Chip Scoggins about this on Purple Access. What makes this so intriguing is this is a story with many tentacles. The injury is just one. The other thing that O'Connell got into in his press conference yesterday was the basically back to basics of fundamentals to fix things. And so O'Connell's going to have to be comfortable that JJ can carry that to a game because he certainly can do it in practice. He showed it in training camp. So this is one of the more intriguing, juicy quarterback stories because of all of the elements that go with it. But yes, I think for now, Carson Wentz is starting.
Yeah, and I do think there were snippets of the mechanics being okay week 1 in Chicago. And even week 2 before he hurt the ankle. Now, he played a portion of that week 2 game against Atlanta with the ankle injured. But I do think if you go back and watch, it's a matter of consistency, repeating it. But there are examples. We can go back. We can break down the all-22. There are examples, week 1, week 2, where he was doing the right things. To me, this year is still about seeing what JJ McCarthy is capable of. And hey, maybe it'll end up being a failure. But we don't know. There's not enough of any sort of sample size. So to me, right now, I think he does play November 2nd. I'd like to think the ankle is in a good spot where we see him regardless of how Carson plays. Let's say Carson is brilliant against the Eagles. Pretty darn good. Short week against the Chargers. I still think we see JJ McCarthy against the Lions, presuming the ankle is at that point just about 100%.
Yeah, the tangling together here of the high ankle and also the lower body mechanics, I think those are two completely separate things that obviously a bad ankle makes the other thing worse. But, the fact that Kevin and O'Connell spoke about this yesterday for you guys, the assembled media who was there in person, that he spent just a lot of hands-on, one-on-one time with him because it was the bye week, and they were trying to get back to some of the good base mechanics that he had built up over the past 18 months. But then he also acknowledged it's one thing to be here for 18 months. It's another thing to actually be on the grass on a regular basis and practicing, and he just hasn't had a lot of that. I mean, we highlighted this on Tuesday. JJ McCarthy has only had one full game prep week of practice in his career because he had none last year. And he only had, in terms of just being healthy and available for all 3 days leading up to a game, week 1 was the only example. So it is a little alarming to me that we're talking about footwork and mechanics 18 months into this thing. Not that you can't always be evolving your mechanics, but in terms of how likely is it that he's going to start and succeed at a pretty high level soon? My alarm bells are going off a little bit. I'm not saying that long term he can, in 5 years, all of this might just be a backstory. But can he get on the field this week or in 2 weeks and play at a high level? And we're talking about mechanics and footwork right now. My alarm bells are going off.
Well, and I get it. I mean, a lot of people's alarm bells should be going off because the question is, the thought is that this roster is good enough to make a deep January run. That, to me, hasn't changed. The NFC looks as wide open as we thought it would be. Maybe even more so before week 1. If a lot of people thought, hey, the Philadelphia Eagles are still really, really good, hey, they will steamroll through the NFC. Maybe not the case. Now, maybe Tampa's better than a lot of people thought, but I'm just saying, to me, the NFC is still pretty darn wide open. You assembled a roster. You spent so much money in March thinking, yes, the Super Bowl window is open. Maybe it's more open next year or in 27, but certainly open this year. But can you fix those mechanical flaws in a couple weeks? Or is this something they need to strip down and reevaluate come the offseason? That is the question. Can you fix these issues in season? And I wish I knew the answer, Judd. I don't. But I still think we will get some sort of new evidence, right? Not just the Chicago and Atlanta games. We'll get some sort of new evidence at some point, and I think it could be as soon as the Lions game.
But the problem is there's no way, like from what I've observed and heard and all of those things, there's no way to fix this unless you allow him to play in games to work it out. And so, like, practice, it's great that they broke down film and then went out on the practice field, but JJ McCarthy in practice, where, by the way, he's either playing against air or he's going to be pressured but not hit. JJ McCarthy in practice, I think the mechanics are fine. I think it's why his arm looked so good. Like again, I could not rectify in my mind, why is this arm thing such a big deal when the guy that I'm watching spin the ball like a master every which way in the OTAs, mini camp, and training camp? What are we talking about here? And I've seen the Michigan tape, so I know what they're talking about, but I'm like, I don't really see that. And then you see the games. And there were a few passes in that Falcons game to the sideline where he had issues in college too, before he got hurt, where it's like he was forcing the ball in. And I think what that is he doesn't tie his footwork to his arm, and so he's like a pitcher who throws out his arm because it's all arm. He doesn't use his legs, right? So there's no, but you can't fix that on Wednesday. Like, it's unfixable on Wednesday, and you can't get him to fix it until he plays in games. And then the question becomes, does he revert? Because I am not drawing a direct parallel here, but let me use an example, okay? If you guys recall, a very different problem, but still, how many times were Tim Tebow's mechanics fixed in practice? We shortened up his throwing motion. It's going to be fine. We've got him where we want. Then we'd go to games, and he would go back to, he would basically throw like a right fielder trying to throw a guy out at home plate. So these are the type of
like
things.
Saying Tim Tebow in a quarterback discussion is like saying bomb on an airplane, by the way. That was
I love it. You're right.
You're making a valid point, but a lot of people are only going to hear JJ McCarthy and Tim Tebow in the same point here.
I'm just trying to think of mechanical fixes that we thought have been made, but then we get to games and we revert back. That's what I'm saying. So that to me is what makes this so intriguing, because I don't think you will know until you put him into a series of games to find out.
This would be a better question. Is it a Thor's Day? Is Thor on with you guys later today?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
coming
he
in
is.
hot.
Somebody who breaks down Zapruder film-esque, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I don't remember these being red flags coming out of Michigan. I really don't.
There's some footwork stuff like throwing to the left.
Pre-draft. Yeah, maybe Dan Orlovsky in a conversation with me mentioned, but like nothing that wasn't fixable. But yeah, can you do it in season?
Right.
That's
I don't
the
know.
question.
Yeah, but we need the evidence. You're right. You're not able to show, at least to me, any of us, anything in practice because you're not being taken to the ground. Yeah, I mean, guys are letting up, all that, right? You're only getting so many 11 on 11 reps. And so, like, I don't know how you immediately fix it, but you need to put them out there. You absolutely do. Now, Phil, I saw your Twitter poll. Like, would you trade JJ McCarthy right now for what, a 2 and a 3? Heck no. No.
I wouldn't either, by the way. But Dukes, 30% of the audience said that they would.
I know.
30%.
Talk about pouring gasoline and lighting a match and walking away.
Now, how many of those people reside in Bismarck? But yeah, like I need a little bit more information on those 30%. But yeah, I mean, I get it. There are some people out there that, and it might be affirmation in their mind right now what they thought pre-draft, for all I know, right? That maybe they thought, hey, there's a reason why the Vikings wanted Drake May more than anyone, that JJ McCarthy wasn't even their first choice. And hey, that JJ in the top 10, that was a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
That, hey, maybe a borderline first-round pick, but maybe more so a day 2 pick. And so maybe those people are just like, hey, yes, give me something right now, a 2 and a 3, sign me up because I didn't like him so much pre-draft. But for me, no way, no how would I make that sort of move today.
As you referenced, it is a reckless speculation Thursday.
Reckless speculation.
So I'll paint this scenario. So spoiler alert for our picks on Saturday. I think they're beating the Eagles. I think that the Eagles have been outgained in all 6 games. They are not a good running football team anymore, which seems odd, but it's, hey, this is the 2025 team, not the 2024 team. I think they're going through some stuff that doesn't just fix itself overnight. So I actually think the Vikings are going to win this game. We'll see about that Thursday game. But Dukes, let's say, recklessly speculating, The Vikings win their next 2 games with Carson Wentz playing pretty darn well. And now you're 2-0 in these games, which makes you 5-2. You'd be 5-2 and firmly near the top of at the top of the NFC playoff picture. And Wentz is performing pretty darn well. Like, he's not a problem. He's driving the offense. They're moving the football, etc. But then you got that kind of pseudo bye week. The short week to Thursday means 10 days of prep for the Detroit game, first game in November. Presumably McCarthy would be healthy with the high ankle at that point. What do you do if you're Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings? I don't think it's that unrealistic.
McCarthy, but I don't think it's a crazy question. And hey, we are going to have 2 more weeks of this talk. Could you imagine the chatter on Friday, October 24th, then into the weekend through Monday, October 27th, that week leading into the Detroit game? If there's any chatter about JJ McCarthy getting his job back after that scenario you just laid out, I'm with you, by the way. Now, it looks like the Eagles, like the Vikings, are getting healthy. Jalen Carter declared, I'm back. He missed week 6, but he'll return as good an interior defensive lineman as there is in the league. Landon Dickerson, at least, was limited in practice. Mitchell, the stud corner, limited in practice, so there's a chance on those 2 guys. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles, I'm looking at these numbers, 29th in passing, 25th in rushing. Is it all because they miss Mekhi Becton? To me, it's got to be more than that. Is it play calling? I mean, there's been loud chatter just based on having a bunch of family in Philadelphia, diehard Eagles fans about, how about some more play action? They're not a heavy play action team and haven't been so far, but what about utilizing play action on Sunday? I mean, they're bottom 2, bottom 3 in the league in terms of play action. But yeah, Saquon, like, he's not even, is he even 75% of what he was last year at this point?
No,
probably not. But
no,
I don't think it's as simple as just Saquon somehow maybe has lost a little bit. There's a lot going on. Do they miss Kellen Moore, who's now the head coach in New Orleans? I don't know. All sorts of questions, but I'm with you. I like the Vikings' chances on Sunday. I will tell you, for what it's worth, being in the locker room yesterday, talking to a number of guys. I think I ended up interviewing 9-10 guys. The vibes were good. Like, it was loose. I mean, those guys seemed really, really primed to get back out there to play this game. Finally return to some level of normalcy. First game, a noon game, home game in a month. Now, hey, I get it. It gets all wacky with a Thursday game next week. But at least for this week, a sense of a lot of normalcy that the Vikings felt really, really good, at least yesterday when I was there.
I think it's a little bit of an interesting predicament as well, too, because there are years where it feels like things just go wrong and like it's sort of a lost cause, and vibes obviously get down there. I think what we need to do, though, is separate the vibes that we feel largely because of the quarterback with the vibes that the players do. Because if you look at the conference, you don't look at a team, again, the Eagles, San Francisco I like, but they're decimated. So you don't look at the conference and say, boy, you're not getting past that team. You are absolutely screwed. This thing is jumbled. I mean, the Vikings are still very much potentially a playoff team. So there are times where I think the vibes of the public and the fans and the players are probably on the same page. I don't think that's the case here, because players don't stay up at night fretting. Like, if Carson Wentz can win games, they don't care. Carson Wentz can win games.
Yeah. Who's the quarterback of the future?
Yeah,
like, can we beat the Eagles this weekend?
Right, but I mean, that's for us to absorb and sweat about. I mean, heck, that's why O'Connell. I totally get why O'Connell is not happy. But that doesn't mean the players aren't. And I do think that this conference offers up, right now at least, a really good opportunity to make the playoffs. And no matter how we feel about this team potentially making a playoff run, no player who's about to make the playoffs thinks or most players do not think we got no shot at a playoff run. So I think there's a big difference between vibes in the locker room and vibes outside of it right now, because the thought processes are so different.
Yeah, I mean, Will Fries, among many, was like, hey, like, these self-inflicted wounds, these pre-snap penalties, we can fix those, especially with some personnel changes. Now, I don't know at this point if Brian O'Neill will be able to go. I mean, that's a pretty heavy brace on his right knee, limited in practice yesterday. He might still need a little bit more time. I know Donovan Jackson was limited yesterday, but there was a reason why he underwent the surgery when he did. Like, to me, signs point to Donovan Jackson, minimum, returning on the offensive line on Sunday. Plus, like, talking to Ivan Pace Jr., Jonathan Allen, Jalen Redmond, like, all these guys were like, hey, we know we can tackle better. Like, it's pretty darn simple. They haven't tackled well. They have missed, including Ivan, a lot of tackles. Jonathan Allen, too, right? But they feel confident that is very fixable. Tackling plus the pre-snap penalty, so they're not in third and long situations. Phil, you probably have the numbers. They're not a good third down team. Well, how many of those third downs are 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, right? They feel like, okay, eliminate the pre-snap penalties, third down becomes that much more manageable. So, yeah, I'm with you, Judd. In this case, now, I'm not taking the temperature of a lot of the public, but, yeah, I think there's probably more doom and gloom outside the locker room compared to what I saw yesterday, because to me, it wasn't maybe quite kumbaya, but it was very festive in that Vikings locker room yesterday.
Let's you touched on a couple other injuries here. Let's go through some of the non-quarterback stuff here in a second, kind of figure out who might be in, who might be out. Judd, you know who's in? Mystic Lake is in on Purple Daily here for Vikings fans.
Absolutely. And guess what? Welcome aboard to the fine folks at Mystic Lake. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the complete package for Vikings fans. We're talking about drawings, giveaways, and exclusive fan experiences. If you need a ride to the game, take a $15 round trip ride to the stadium for every Vikings home game. No parking hassles, just smooth travel and lots of Skol chants. Stay close to the action at Mystic Lake at the Hop House. Game is always on. Specials are always flowing. And after the game, relax and recharge. This might be the best part in one of Mystic Lake's luxurious hotel suites. Perfect for turning that game day experience into an unforgettable getaway for the weekend. Don't miss your chance, by the way, to win exclusive Vikings merchandise and experiences only at Mystic Lake, where every day is game day. Check them out, mysticlake.com, mysticlake.com, and welcome aboard to our newest partner. Thrilled to have you on board, Mystic Lake.
Yeah, and also shout out to another partner of the Vikings, two of them actually, Pepsi, which is the official beverage of the Minnesota Vikings, and then Buffalo Wild Wings, which is the preferred sports bar of the Minnesota Vikings. And these Justin Jefferson souvenir cups that you see here on the YouTube channel, they have a QR code on the side. You can get one of these souvenir cups by going to Buffalo Wild Wings anywhere in the Twin Cities area and ordering 12 wings of any style. And boom, you get one of these bad boys right here. There's a QR code on the side. You can scan it and enter to win Victor's Ride, a Polaris 1000 ATV. So again, shout out to Pepsi for giving us these glorious cups, and Buffalo Wild Wings for making them available. When you get 12 wings of any style, supplies are limited. So get in there and don't forget to scan that QR code. And then Federated Mutual Insurance Company, also one of our great fine partners here on Purple Daily. And Federated, which has a company history going back 120 years, was recently recognized by Forbes as one of America's best in-state employers as well for 2025, and by Newsweek as one of America's most admired workplaces for the coming year, 2026. It's a great place to work. They have a culture that they've been building for decades and decades. For more than a century, Federated success has been built on a foundation of providing value and partnership to their clients. This is only possible through the dedication of the employees that work there. A lot of former college athletes also they hire. So if you're looking to start your career or change your career, Federated is a great place to work. You can find out more. Federatedinsurance.com/careers. Okay. So the rest of the injury report, you kind of touched on a couple of these, but just to fly through. The full participants, Tyler Batty, who's he's not like a rotation guy, but he's back to full. Blake Cashman with the hamstring, full participant. Michael Juergens, the backup center with a hamstring, full participant. We already talked about Carson Wentz. So Cashman, Juergens tracking to be available, it looks like, as full participants. Is Cashman going to play?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's always been trending in that direction. I mean, immediately after the Monday night game, the injury in Chicago, it was looking like 4 games. Yeah, you put him on short-term IR, but he would miss the minimum 4 games, much like C.J. Ham missed 4 games, knee issue. He was always going to be ready to go for the Cleveland game. In fact, Ham could have played previously, but He was placed on short-term IR, roster management, roster mechanisms, all that. So Ham had to miss the 4 games, but came back. Yeah, Cashman tracking to play. I mean, barring some sort of setback in today's lengthy practice. Yeah, I mean, Blake Cashman back on Sunday. So, yeah, that will be incredibly encouraging. When we talk about tackling and stopping the run, yes, absolutely miss the quarterback of the defense, the communicator, the green dot, Blake Cashman. We touched on this on Tuesday. The talent undeniable. Cash just needs to find a way to stay on the field. Whether as a Jet, a Texan, now a Viking, that has been the issue with Blake not being able to stay healthy. But when he is on the field, he's as good to me a linebacker against the pass and the run combination. I think he's right up there among the best in the league. I think he should have been a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah. And then the limiteds, we touched on a couple of these. Donovan Jackson, the left guard, Brian O'Neill, the right tackle, Andrew Van Ginkel with the neck limited, and Tyreen Ingram Dawkins, your 5th-round pick defensive lineman with a hip, was limited, and he's made an impact in some games early on here. So those are kind of the could go either ways. Also, JJ McCarthy included there. We already talked about him. So
yeah. So on Juergens, we can certainly make a case that Blake B still can't nail down the pronunciation if we're going Brandel or Brandel, but we'll call him Blake. I should have asked him. I had a nice conversation with him in the locker room yesterday. I should have just asked him, please say your name on camera so I can finally nail down the proper pronunciation. But we'll go Blake B. I mean, for what it's worth, in the portion open to us yesterday at practice, it was Blake B snapping to Carson W. And so if we're looking at Carson being the quarterback on Sunday, can we read between the lines that Blake plays over Juergens on Sunday, that Blake is the better option between the two? Can't rule that out. Put it that way.
That's where I would lean, Judd. I would just continue the veteran. I know he has this one game in his career, but I feel more comfortable with a more experienced player doing that job.
Yeah, I think the line on Sunday, left to right, will be Darisaw without a pitch count, which will be nice.
Correct.
Jackson will come back. And he basically admitted they advised him that he probably shouldn't have played in the Bengals game, and he's like, well, you told me I could, so I'm going to play. And they're like, okay, whatever.
Love it.
Brandel at center, Fries, and then I think Justin School at right tackle. O'Neill did, in the brief portion that was open to us, he did a few things that lead me to believe that he's not there yet. Because like when they went to do some drills there in the individuals, he went and rode the bike and things. So I'm guessing he's at least a week out. But if you have 4 of those 5, and Brian will be missed, don't get me wrong, but if you have 4 of those 5 and Brandel can play like he did against the Browns, I think you're feeling far better than the hodgepodge line, which, by the way, to their credit, did a good job against the Browns.
Oh, I'm with you. Now, I could make a case. I think you're right, Judd, and I thought it was going to be a little bit longer for O'Neill going back to when the injury occurred, but that he will be back, so that's the encouraging thing.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't ever any sort of season-ending type setback, but I could make a case that Walter Rouse is your better option at right tackle. So if we take O'Neill out of the picture,
sure.
What about Rouse at right tackle over School? But I think you're right. When you say, hey, right now you're projecting this being the starting 5, I tend to agree with you.
When they didn't put Rouse at the starting right tackle, and I've been told that there are people that like Rouse more. So, but when they didn't put him at the starting right tackle against Cleveland, and then they moved School to left tackle, I think whatever they think or see from School, we don't see. So like they like him more than we do. And look, left tackle is really tough. So I thought, unless his grade PFF wise, Phil, was terrible, I thought School got by against Cleveland at right tackle. Left tackle was a whole different ballgame.
Well, and hey, I mean, whether it's Jeremiah Searles, J.J. Watt, hey, PFF does a lot of good things. The actual player grading, I think a lot of people have issues with. Like, Joe Huber wasn't as bad as his grade suggested.
Right.
Against the Browns. Blake B was not as bad as his grade suggested. And hey, Justin School might be in that same boat. I'm not suggesting Justin School was A or A minus, but I'm not sure he was the failure that PFF portrayed. On the defensive side, so let me make one tiny correction, not necessarily correction, just add some context to what I said on Tuesday about Harrison Smith. So Harrison Smith is good to play more snaps. Like, could he play 50-something snaps on Sunday? I'm led to believe yes. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the way that Flo is going to utilize him. That there is something to be said about having a fully functional Harrison Smith December into what they believe, hopefully, January. So no need to fire all those bullets right now. So it may be still in that 29 to 35-ish type snap count, but he could. Like, he is ready to play more snaps. It's a matter of whether the Vikings use him that way. Then Andrew Van Ginkel, I'll tell you what, like, neck and, recurring and all that, but just watching him move at practice looks pretty darn good. Like, watching him work on his pass rush moves, the dip and duck and all that, like, he looked good. And so, I imagine, questionable probably for Sunday. If you're limited Wednesday, probably looking at like a questionable designation. Maybe it's worse, but I'm just saying from my naked eyes, like, he looked pretty darn good, both Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah. Darren Doogie Wolfson. By the way, we will play on the Thursday episode. We'll do a deeper dive into KOC snipping at Judd. I got a couple clips I'll play for you guys on the Thursday episode, including McCarthy. It felt like McCarthy acknowledged an elephant in the room yesterday too, and we'll play a clip there in his own kind of McCarthy way. So plenty of breakdown, deep dive into the relationship dynamic between Sports Dad and Kevin O'Connell on the other episode. But Dukes, we know your time is tight this morning. Appreciate you, and we'll see what happens this weekend before we catch up again on Purple Daily next week, man.
Appreciate it, boys. Droogie suiting up for the junior varsity football team today.
Wow, let's go.
Cool accomplishment. So we'll see if he can actually earn some snaps. But
boy,
very, very cool. So off to watch a little JV football on this Thursday morning. 2 additional notes. Had a great conversation with Isaiah Rodgers. He was got engaged during the bye week. So did Blake Cashman. So congratulations to both those guys. But Isaiah made it very clear to me, hey, this is not a revenge game. I'm not making this me against the Eagles.
Okay.
In many ways, forever indebted to the Eagles. And hey, he's got a lot of friends there. Feels good about Howie Roseman, others in the Eagles front office. There was some genuine interest from the Eagles in re-signing Rodgers. It never materialized. Yeah. But he wanted to make it very clear. This is not any sort of revenge game on Sunday. And as the NFL trade deadline inches closer, the Vikings, like a lot of teams, making calls, but I can't remember if I said this or not. They were not in on Newsome before he was moved from the Browns to the Jaguars. But the Vikings doing their due diligence. They wouldn't be literally doing their jobs, right? Ryan Grigson, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, others, if they weren't at least making some inquiry. So, we'll see as we approach closer to that early November trade deadline if the Vikings can make a move. They've certainly been busy other trade deadlines, but those calls are starting to be made. And the Vikings will have scouting representation at Gophers, Nebraska tomorrow night. In addition, the Cowboys, the Giants, I don't have the full list in front of me, but there's like 5 or 6 NFL teams that will be present tomorrow night in Minneapolis, including the Vikings.
I will have representation at the Gophers, Nebraska game tomorrow night.
I like it.
So see you guys out there.
Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Are you going?
No.
I mean, anyone's allowed to go.
No. Well, I know I'm allowed to go, but as of now, no.
It's open to the public.
I think about going to the Tommies game on Saturday, though. Go watch a little Glenn Caruso. Yeah.
Roll Toms. Let's go. Roll Toms. All right, Dukes.
All right, boys. Take it easy.
Good luck to Droogie. And we'll catch you next week here on Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die at some point.